Good evening and welcome to SMNI. You're watching Business and Politics. I'm your host, Dante, Klink. Our guest tonight is the new president and CEO of Clark International Airport Corporation, or CIAC. Arrey Ancheta Pereza assumed this new role in September. Not long after we interviewed his predecessor, is now the president of another government-owned and controlled corporation, the Basis Conversion and Development Authority, or BCDA. Mr. Perez himself came from BCDA, where he had a long career that ended with him as Senior Vice President for Corporate Services. While there, he was involved in the master planning of Bonifacio Global City, McKinley Hills, Newport City, Aztecs, and other projects. Moreover, he directly managed world-class sports facilities at the new Clark City and promoted Camp John Hay in Baguio and Poro Point in La Union. He's a certified public accountant, a licensed real estate broker, and certified financial consultant of the International Finance Corporation, and he has a master's degree in public administration and a postgraduate diploma in urban and regional planning from the University of the Philippines. Lastly, he completed an executive training program on public-private partnerships at the Harvard Kennedy School. His main preoccupation now is leading the transformation of the Clark International Airport as the country's main gateway and logistics hub. That will be our main topic for tonight. We will ask Mr. Perez, why is Clark important to national development, and how can we realize its full potential? Mr. Arrey Perez, welcome to Business and Politics. Thank you for making time.
Thank you. Thank you, Dante.
I know you're still jet lagged from your trip to ICAO in Montreal. I'll get to that in a minute, but I'm just curious. You're new to CIAC. So what got you here from BCDA?
Well, I got an opportunity to be invited to serve in a different capacity.
Yeah.
I've been with the BCDA, or the Basis Conversion.
You had a long career there, successful in a time.
Yes,
right?
almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
And so I was asked, to serve in a different capacity. Now, I got an offer which is hard to refuse.
Okay.
Serving a subsidiary of the Basis Conversion and Development Authority, which is CIAC.
Right.
So there, I guess I know the plans for Clark coming from a top view, because BCDA is the mother company of Clark International Airport. And I was excited with all the prospects, so I accepted the challenge.
Right. So your predecessor is now the president of BCDA, and BCDA sits on the board of CIAC. Maybe for those who don't know, maybe you can explain, as you said, maybe explain the relationship. You were saying subsidiary, but maybe if you can expound on that.
Yeah. And the President Jake, who used to be the Clark International Airport Corporation president, he was my colleague in the BCDA.
Yeah.
Now, the Basis Conversion and Development Authority is mandated to transform or convert all these former U.S. military bases, such as Subic, Clark, John Hay in Baguio, Poro Point in La Union.
Yeah.
And then there are former military installations in the Philippines, such as the Fort Bonifacio, which is now BGC.
Yeah.
So its mandate is to transform them into economic growth centers.
Right.
That's in the law, or which is Republic Act 7227.
Okay.
Now, in each of these assets, big assets that under the law are supposed to be converted into economic growth centers, different corporations or arms were created to become the implementing estate managers of the BCDA in developing these assets.
Okay.
So in Clark, there are 2 corporations.
All right.
The other one is Clark Development Corporation, and us, the Clark International Airport Corporation.
And you're focused solely on the airport and the what do you call that?
The Clark Civil Aviation Complex.
This Clark Civil Aviation Complex.
So, as a subsidiary of the BCDA, now the BCDA gives us policy directions.
Right.
And then CIAC, uses these policies to come up with plans and programs to enhance, develop the Clark Civil Aviation Complex.
Right. So the last time we interviewed Jake, he was also trying to explain the role of LIPAD, which is the private contractor managing the airport itself. maybe you can also explain what is the relationship between Lipad and CIAC, and where do you cooperate in that area?
Yeah, first is you gotta see the scale of the property that CIAC is managing as an asset. The Clark Civil Aviation Complex is about 2,367 hectares.
Okay, so way beyond the airport facility itself, right?
Exactly, that's was about to go to, because the airport, which is being operated by Lipad, is just about 30% of that.
Okay.
Which is about 759 hectares.
So mainly airport operations.
Yeah. So huge parcels of land outside of the airport are, a big estate that can be transformed to support the operations of the airport.
Right.
So Lipad as a private entity runs the airport.
Right.
Now CIAC as the manager of the Clark Civil Aviation Complex ensures that the airport is run properly as the arm of the Department of Transportation in conducting oversight, regulating.
Over Lipad. Yep.
Yeah, over Lipad.
Yep.
And CIAC's role is to, have civil aviation activities, services that support the airport.
Right. And again, just to refresh the memory of those maybe who didn't see the interview with Jake, Lipad is a consortium made up of Philippine companies and also a group representing Changi Airport in Singapore, right?
Yeah. There are 4 members of the consortium. You've got the Philinvest Land Inc. Then you have the JG Summit Holdings Inc. There's PAGs, or cargo handler, baggage handlers.
Yeah.
And the Singaporean operator of the Jewels, their airports, which is Changi Airports.
So is the aspiration that maybe since Lipad is managing the Clark International Airport, that maybe our Clark Airport will be as beautiful as the Changi Airport in Singapore? Is that the vision?
It is the vision. When BCDA, when I was part of BCDA.
When you negotiated that, yeah?
Yes, when we crafted the terms of reference for the privatization of the airport, the new terminal building, we made sure that there's going to be an expertise coming from world-renowned operators, coming from the best in the world to operate, to handle the operations of the airport.
Right. And so, and if I understand correctly, and I think we may have mentioned this with Jake, CDC is like the city hall, is that correct? Of the area. And so when you are an entity within the area of just jurisdiction of CDC, is that how it should be described, or what's the relationship?
The Clark Special Economic and Freeport Zone is being the estate manager of that place, or should we say the local government unit of that place.
It's like the city hall.
The city hall is the Clark Development Corporation.
Right, I see.
They're deputized to handle safety and security.
Right.
They were deputized to issue permits, building permits by the DPWH. So many things that a city hall would do is being performed by the Clark Development Corporation.
Right. So give us an update on the airport. We've been hearing about all these things about revenge travel, and we see it in Clark as well. There are new airlines flying there. The capacity, as I understand it from our board meetings, I should remind our audience that I sit on the board of CIAC as well. But from I understand from our meetings, it seems like it's doing very well. But maybe you can give us a more updated status.
Yeah. Lipad is doing well in managing the airport.
Right.
They're performing according to the standards set in the operations and maintenance contract. The total capacity of the airport is at 8 million passengers per annum, and for this year, we've targeted at least 2 million passengers per annum as our contribution to as in the country for taking care of passengers. So we're almost there. We're going to hit that target as reported by Lipad. So we're very happy with what they're doing there in the airport right now. We also have cargo handlers, and they're happy with our services. In fact, there are some discussions of expansions by some MROs or cargo handling companies that are already located in NAIA that intend to move to Clark. And also those existing ones, like FedEx, I don't know if I'm able to already announce this.
I know that there were some negotiations going on.
There are some discussions
Okay.
for them to expand their operations in Clark.
Okay.
So those are good things that
Good news.
news that we
Yeah.
hear from our operator.
Right. So I think the last time we talked about Clark on this program, there were, I think, still plans of Cebu Pacific starting, and it's already started, right? And I think since then, a couple of new airlines have started foreign airlines have started flying to Clark. Are there any other talks going on that maybe not yet finalized, but maybe in the pipeline that we will see maybe in the next 12 months or so? What's anything exciting?
Yeah, Lipad and CIAC are very busy in
Okay.
attracting airlines.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a lot of airlines that we are in deep deep discussions.
Yeah. Do you think maybe the better question is, do you think it will replace Manila, or do you think it will be a complementary airport to Manila? What's the plan?
It is a complementary airport.
Okay.
In fact, in its circulars or orders that are issued by the executive,
Okay.
the president of the Philippines, and in other various executive orders, we are primed to be the alternative gateway of the Philippines.
Okay.
So that is our role.
Right.
We're not here to compete with Metro Manila.
Okay.
In fact, when
It's a big enough pie. in
it
other
is
words.
big enough pie.
Yeah.
If you look at our competitiveness, not among the airports in the Philippines, but among the countries in Southeast Asia, we're far behind in terms of accommodating passengers. Right? So you can look at the statistics on tourism.
Yeah.
So that alone, I guess, would say we don't have enough capacity to attract passengers, tourists.
Right.
So it's not just about the airports as well, but
Right.
those are our gateways, primary gateways when we have tourists.
Right.
So they have to be run properly.
Sure.
That's their first experience of our country.
Sure.
So they have to be built in a nice way. That's why there's a privatization going on in NAIA. There's a rehabilitation, I think there's a public bidding that's going to happen. And we all know that. We've seen that in the news, and it's going to happen.
Right.
Once that is awarded, that contract for the rehabilitation of the NAIA happens, where are all these
Where are they gonna
passengers
go?
going?
They have to go to Clark. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, again, we're here to support.
Right.
We're here to support. We are ready to accommodate the influx of passengers from the capital all the way to Clark.
Wow. Well, very, very interesting. We just have to take a quick break, Arrey, if you don't mind me calling it that.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with Business and Politics. We're talking to Arrey Pereza, the new president and CEO of Clark Airport.